during my job during this year, I can say about this year because I was having very less time. So it will take around 25 to 30 minutes from my home to office. So on route, I always be with the civils daily up and down. So that feeds, it was very difficult to read newspaper or because time constraints was there. So I'll take civil daily and I'll get the thing. And there is a group of civil daily, then daily questions are being asked also. So I used to solve in that on the way. I just keep, guys, where do I stand? So that is the way civil daily helped me. In fact, current affairs were through civil daily this year. And many years I've been there, but this year it was through civil daily.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update from Civils Daily.
Hello, aspirants and friends. I welcome you all to Unheard UPSC 2020 Toppers Talk series. And today in our conversation, I have with me Shahansha K S from Thrissur, Kerala. He is right now working as a civil servant after clearing UPSC civil services in 2015, joined as Indian Railway Protection Force Services Officer. And despite all the odds that he has had so far, he dreamt of becoming an IPS officer. This was his first option and first preference in that sense. And today, after having scored as much marks that could have gotten him 142 ranks, he is much deserving in that category. So let me first congratulate Shahanshah, and let us hear from you how were your first few minutes after knowing that you have probably achieved what you wanted.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the nice introduction. And sir, I am myself Shahansha K S. And as the question goes, the a few moments of happiness, sir. I was very happy, in fact, because that was the moment I was out of the cycle of preparation of 8 years. So that journey was filled with a lot of happiness, sorrowness, and there was both end of trajectories were there. So I sat for some time. I just I had memories of preparation. I know the first day I came to Delhi. I know the first day I departed from the train. From there to that day, that long journey of 8 years was very exhaustive. And finally, at the end of the day, if you try, there is a there will be results. So I was happy, sir. That day, that moment of accomplishment, that was something to cherish for, sir.
The best part is that you chose IPS as your first preference, and
Yes,
it is not that you had in mind that you'll be getting these many these many marks and probably this much would be your rank. But despite or irrespective of whatever your marks would have been, you would have still chosen IPS. That is something very rare, right? We do not really come across this kind of dedication or maybe an attachment or affiliation to a particular work. So, could you tell me what inspired you to choose IPS over IAS or other thing? Like in very short, like nothing, very deep. But you can tell
yes,
me like
sure.
what inspired you. Yeah.
Sir, to be very frank, it was actually my childhood dreams, sir. Actually, uniform service I always ought for because my maternal grandfather was himself an army person, and I have seen him in uniform, and that always inspired me. And his photos, his uniform there in his room. So this is the things that I have seen when I was in my childhood. So that is always an inspiration for me. And sir, after coming for civil services also, that inspiration was always with me. And I was never, there was a doubt in my mind that whether to choose for administration or policing. I was very sure to go for policing. Even the year 2016, I qualified. I put IRPF, that is the Railway Protection Force Service, much above any other services. In fact, 7, 8 option. Usually students does not put it there. And I even choose customs over income tax. So because of uniform in customs. So that was my interest for uniform services, and it is I do believe it is to do with the influence that my grandfather had on me, and I always cherish that.
Great to know that, Shahansha. But since you said that you are already into services, many people, those who are working right now, working jantas of sort, they always want to know, like, despite having such odds, because your work, as I can see, is a 24-hour reporting kind of work, right? You're always ready to go to and report to the place where something wrong has happened. Maybe you'll have to be responsible for such things. How did you manage your time with respect to studies, whether it was a 5 hour slot that you had fixed for a day, or did it vary depending on the amount of time you had? I mean, all these things, how did you manage time?
Sir, during my job and preparation, I actually made this policy that no job at home. Uh, I will leave my entire work that is there during the job time, and I'll do everything out to my full potential during the job time. And after job, I'll be dedicating full time for preparation. So I know, okay, my job timings are from 9:30 to 7:30. So in between time, I always dedicated. So I'll put off my phone, or I'll keep my study material there, and I always made sure at least 5 hours, 4 to 5 hours per day is available. Morning 2 3 hours, and evening 2 3 hours are were good enough, because I down the line of preparation of 7 6 7 years, I was quite familiar with the syllabus. Much deeper readings were not required at that stage of preparation. So 4 5 hours was initial phases was good enough, and my seniors were also nice enough to provide me leave during the mains and interview. I got around 1 month of leave during prelims and during mains and interview. So they were kind enough to provide me the leave. So it was both, sir. My job time, I never compromised with my job. During my preparation phase, I never compromised with the preparation. So I took both with me, sir. And during my transiting from room to office, I used to hear news. I used to refer the Civilsdaily news. So it is how I juggled between them. Small time, how to utilize the small time to the most potential. So that is how, sir.
I believe, I mean, your honesty with respect to both your work and your goal, right? Your goal that you have set, both worked here, right? You ensured that you would be
Yes,
at least, giving yourself 5 to 6 hours every day, so that you
yes,
can catch up with
yes,
the current things, the current affairs, as you have said,
yes,
and
yes,
then probably, use some time to write answers and all. I mean, this is how you planned your day
yes,
for,
yes,
like.
yes,
ग्रेट सी
yes,
शहनशाह,
true.
बहुत लोगों को लगता है कि आई मीन दिस एंटायर प्रिपरेशन इज वेरी डिफिकल्ट, बट ऑल्दो यू आर योरसेल्फ एन एग्जांपल दैट अपने पूरे प्रोसेस को 7 years तक किया, लाइक यू हैड दिस, यू आर एन एग्जांपल फॉर एवरी वन ऑफ अस, or those who are into UPSC civil services dream, that patience, perseverance, dedication, devotion, it pays at the end,
Yes,
right? छोड़ना नहीं चाहिए बीच में. You should not leave if you are really, I mean, like you said, you had this love for uniform. तो अगर छोड़ देते तो शायद यहाँ नहीं पहुंचते. आज IPS में हो, probably you will be itching to go to Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel National Police Academy in some months, right?
true.
So that is there for you. Great, great. Shashank, many people even find it difficult when they are working, plus when they have a social life, maybe a family as well. Many of them are married, right? Are you married too?
Yes, I am married too.
Great. So you have had this dedication again, right? Your life got divided into so many fields, right?
Uh,
So despite such things, your psychological, your mental, emotional health, how much do you think this is important, and how did you cope up with this diversity of your own, division of mind, or maybe your dedication with respect to so many responsibilities?
Going to the first question regarding the importance of emotional stability during preparation. So I always say this: civil servant aspirants does not need IQ much, but they need EQ more, because it is more always about the emotional quotient a person have, how much stress a person can hold, how much failures a person can survive, how much difficulties a person can hold on to. Because we used to say that, see, around 10 lakh people register, 6 lakh people write the exam, finally only 1,000 people get qualified. So that itself means that 0.001 percentage is the success ratio of this examination. And you are going to an examination with 100% conviction that 99.99% you'll be you'll not be qualifying the paper.
Odds are against
So
you.
odds are all against you. In such a paper you are going. One thing you should be taken for granted is uh, uh, the margin of victory is so less, and there is more probability of failure than victory. So the people should understand that this examination is one of the toughest examinations in the world. This examination is one of the most demanding examinations in the world. This service is also one of most sought after and service that can provide immense opportunity for you to perform for the nation. And as such, this preparation, this dedication, this effort we do give is actually demanded by the service. And the service demands that. If the service does not need a person who can study for 10 hours, 48 hours continuously go. A person who service need a person who can handle pressure, who will be able to solve issues of the people, who will be able to think differently, come out of solutions. In my service, I feel many situations were the boundary line is so flux that you won't be able to come to a conclusion what to do. This mental judgment, this caliber, this everything is needed. So it does not need a person who is good in academics, bad in emotions, bad in values. It needs a person who is good in all. So I think the examination demands it, and examination demands a person who is not just good in academics, good in all the fields. So in that perspective, and also from the perspective of winning percentage, emotional stability, emotional quotient, emotional upkeep of a person is very important for this paper. And second, how I was able to do these things. I think almost all the parents will be supporting their words, and my parents were very supportive, I should say, because you must be knowing how expensive it is to stay in Delhi, and coming from a lower middle class family, it was never easy for me. At least for my family, they never let me know what are the difficulties they were facing back home. But in Delhi, it was too difficult because expenses wise. But the familial support was very important. So I actually got that support from family. They always supported me, not just financially, mentally. Whenever I fail, my father used to call me, "Kya hoga? Mallo, why does it matter? You give it again. We are there. You don't have to feed us. We don't have any loan spending. You don't have any issues. Everything is stable back home. Why are you worrying? This is the time. 26, 27. When I was 26, this is the time you should take chances. You should fail. You should think something different. And after 30, 35, the staying gap reduces little bit compared to when he's 23, 24, 25. So my father used to say, no worry, right, you have 9 attempts, exhaust 9 attempts. If nothing happens, then come back, we'll do something. Nothing more. So that support was there always for me. And as for after marriage, my marriage happened in July 10th. Interview was August 4th. So there was a lot of juggling between time, and my wife was also very kind enough that she always supported me. And
Great.
as such, it was I had a lot of support systems. So this support cushioning system I had a lot. So and I they know my sensitivities also, so they also helped me a lot. I also handle it well, I guess. So overall, it is again a
You mean to say that in this entire psychological, emotional, stress situation which you have to go throughout this time of 7 years, maybe
mm,
5 years, right? Whosoever had this own trajectory of time into this exam, like you require a very stable support system that can mentally support you, and you've had that that privilege
yes,
of having
I
such
had it.
family members with you, right?
And personal also. See, I don't want to deny that I actually went to depression. I have gone to 2 3 depression phase, one or two depression phases because
Okay,
uh,
I need a bit clarity on that. Shahansha, you mentioned about depression.
yes,
Please
depression.
be, yeah, please be very specific about, because many of our students, aspirants who are there in Delhi, maybe sitting in their homes, they find it very common as a situation that they do not find a solution out of, right? Depression gives you
Mm,
that situation. It probably fills you with a lot of
exactly.
negativity. Talk about
Negativity.
that thing a little bit. Yes, please.
See, I told you now. You go for an examination where chances of success is very less, and you get you won't get victory, and you go to. It's very normal to get depressed, to get mentally down, to get a feeling that there is nothing, forehead, I lost everything. It's very common in human psychology, and you cannot expect everything to be good in life. Something bad happens, and I, in fact, have gone to 1, 2 depression phases, and 1 week, 2 week, 3 week, it was full. Appetite was not there, full gloomy, and not socially. I am not interacting with anyone. I am sitting alone. Pata nahi what I was doing, but this is a phase that will every student will go through. But what I had to say is depression won't be there for a long time. It will pass away. As the time, depression will also passes away. And for that,
Did you do
initial few,
anything extra from your end to come out of depression?
I yes. In fact, I just went outside. I go 1 2 2 2 weeks. If I'm not able to cope up it, I'll go out. I'll go for a solo trip, or I'll go stay with my friends. I'll chill out for 2 3 4 days, 5 days. Then I come back again. So initially, what happened was, my first interview. After my first interview, I could not clear, and result, it was not there. It was very bad. And in 10 days you have prelims also. Luckily I qualified for prelims, but that backlog was carried for another 2 3 weeks. And isme what helped was preparation, because mains preparation was coming, so that kept me busy. So in a way, the cycle also helped me to come out of this phase of depression. But it's very common. Depression. I think students will be facing it. We should be expecting it and understanding that depression will come, depression will move, and you will succeed. That is the best way to overcome the depression. That to understand the fact that depression is very normal. Depression is just a mental state for a moment in a life. It is not there to stay for a long time. And that
So
feeling, that
I
understanding.
guess here in cases of depression, again the emotional acceptance that this kind of situation will come. The awareness
Mm.
of your own emotional state is emotional intelligence, right? This is what we call
Yes,
as emotional
exactly.
intelligence. So you are aware of
Emotional
your own
intelligence.
emotional state. So if you know that you are
Yes,
depressed or you are depressed for XYZ reason, you should try and get into some
exactly.
kind of hobby, some kind of, maybe you should go out, do try something
Exactly.
else, right? It will pull yourself
And go
out of
out.
it.
Exactly. You should do something to pull out of this. Ki, as you said, it is a negativity that feeds on it. Negativity always feeds on negativity, and it will overcome, come, and it will keep on addition, and it may end up in something else. Unless and either you will pull out of yourself from it. So that is where you are required as a person. For that, your family, your friends may not be able to do. That is for person, for themselves to understand, and they should understand because at the end of the day, no one can help us other than us from
Right.
this thing. So we are our
Absolutely.
best enemy and
Correct.
best friend.
Yeah.
So this is where personal emotional intelligence, EQ, all comes out. So I told you that athletics also was not smooth. Once you may not result it, you may be depressed, or you may not be able to practice again. But what do you say? These things, I believe this thing very common. This is a normal state of mind, and many students will be facing it. I know, and I've seen many of my friends have been in this state. But and in fact, they are in IAS right now. So this is very common for students to have, and nobody should be feeling bad about it. It's very common. It will be there.
So, Shahansha, many people, many aspirants every year, they fall into this confusion like which optional should they take? Should they take, philosophy or psychology or any other subject for that matter? Like, how did you select your optional and how did that optional turned out to be, the optional for you this time?
Uh, Sir, actually, for the last 6 terms, I was going with a different subject, and this year I changed into PSIR. And the particular optional, I was scoring very low scores, and my average scoring in that subject was 230 to 235 marks only, and there were years I got 430 plus in GS and 210 in that subject. So I was not able to get marks during the phase, and this year changed to PSIR, and I got 271. This was my first attempt, and I prepared only for 2 months from various sources of material. But what I believe is, while the students prepare choosing the optional, they should choose an optional that is at the same time likable for them, and also it is scoring. At the end of the day, it's in competitive examination. You're competing examination for a service. It doesn't matter. You have a very good love for the subject. That's why you choose. You should choose a more practical solution. Some optionals are very good. For example, I can say for PSI, or I can say for Andro, or I can say for normal regional languages, because their average scores are very high. Students will get 260, 265 average scores in these subjects compared to other subjects that I don't want to name. But there are a lot of other subjects where in which your marks are very less, 230, 220 average scores. For example, I was giving my 60 to 70% preparation in that particular subject, but this year I came to here. PSI, I studied very less, and then also I qualified, and I was able to give time for GS2. So the students should choose a subject that is A, you will get good score. B, that is having a lot of repetition of questions. There are many subjects. If you go through the last 25 years of questions, there is a lot of repetitions in the questions, like PSR or like Andro. So there are a lot of established areas or areas in which questions are asked. And three, that does not matter now. That is availability of material. Material is abundant in the internet. So my primary criteria, if I ever again to write examination, well, if I was an aspirant, I would choose students ki choose a subject that is scoring. That is the primary agenda. That should be the primary agenda, because this is a competitive examination. You are writing this examination only to win, only to
Yeah.
get name in the
Yeah.
list. Once you are named in the list, you are out of it. Either it doesn't matter. You have done some particular in your degree. You, for example, you have done a mechanical engineer degree. Mechanical engineer may not be a good score here, or you have done many other things. You come here.
You
So
yourself, you yourself were a mechanical engineer, right? You've
I
done.
myself was a mechanical engineer.
Now you chose to come into civil services. Then you
Yes,
picked up one optional. Later on, you left that because of its non-scorability. Then you chose another
yes,
this time, and you found that despite giving less time to this PSIR, you were able to get good marks out
excellent.
of it. So based
Because
on
the
the
particular,
merit.
yes, because on that optional I took, what happened was 60-70% of all preparation was for that. And I was getting, for example, one day I will study, there were 30 days for preparation, 20 days I'll study that optional, 20 that last 10 days will only for GS. And GS I'll give 2 days for all the papers. So, so the cumulative result that I was getting was not up to mark, because final list when I comes, my mark in the optional was very less. GS, then also GS was good, but my optional was very bad even after giving this much effort. So that cost benefit analysis I did, it was not worth it to take that optional. In fact, if the students are going with the optional for 2-3 years and they are not scoring a good mark in that particular option, they should invest with themselves. They should change their optional. And if 2-3 years of continuous years, if they are not scoring good in mains, it means that there is some fundamental issues in their writing skills, in their way they understand the subject, or the way they represent their answers. So they should change their optional. They should move forward. Don't do an forward that I did. Maybe if I had changed my optional much way before, I would have been to list much more. I certainly believe that, because all the year I have done it such. I got there, yes, I got 190. There, yes, I got 210. The year got into service, I got 215 marks in
Correct.
geography. So with
Correct.
897 rank. So I all these years I thought that next year will be a good year, next year will be a good year, next will be a good year, and that was a false. That was a very immature decision from my side. This year, I was lucky enough to change my optional to PSIR. So that way,
But Shahansha, many people, those who clear this exam, sometimes they say to stick with one's optional and not change it after at least 5-6 years of preparing the same optional is a very good advice. Like many people suggest against choosing a different optional, at
uh-huh,
least after reading it for 4 or 5 years. But you have
uh,
done it. In your case, this thing has shown a positive outcome, right? But
mm,
definitely people should be able to do their own mathematics. Definitely, after listening to you, their understanding with respect to this entire optional game will change to a certain extent, and then maybe their inclination to some of the subjects which you have suggested will increase, like PSIR or Anthro or the local vernaculars you have mentioned. So they will probably start exploring these areas as well. But
Because
many
I've
a
seen,
times,
for example, I have seen Malayalam, that was our regional language back in Kerala. So I have seen students scoring very high scores in Malayalam. And I have, there are my friends who scored 320, 330, 310, 305, 290. And when I come to that particular optional, I see students scoring 230, 240, 245. They get into service. But because of one optional, their entire life is changed. 30, 40 marks of less marks in a particular subject, you're out of the race. So that 40 marks, 30 marks is very crucial. So in a competitive examination, you should. This is my option. This is my.
I
See,
understand. Yes, yes, completely. Your
I
observations.
should.
Yes.
I should clear this thing too. I also 100% believe that strategies are individual specific. There are no set strategies for civil services, and it is for a person to understand. There are different things a person they should choose themselves. That yeah,
Yes.
this is good for me. I will say like this is my thing. This was how I did, and it doesn't mean that it does work for other students.
Everybody.
They
Yes, yes.
exactly they will have better strategy. They will have there are many students. I never can say that I was better than other students. I am compared to other students. I'm very normal.
No,
So
totally
it just that
understood this
this came
point.
good look.
We totally accept that point,
Sure.
and it's quite humble of you to say it that your this is your way of understanding and evolving with time. Shahansha, one couple of more questions before we finish today.
Sure.
One thing is that people, when they are asked about their strength, at least if I ask this question to somebody who has succeeded in their lives for at certain stage, if I ask them about their strength, they will have many things to say. But to a successful person, if I ask about their problem areas, about their areas where they got distracted, weaknesses in fact. So I mean, if we learn about the weaknesses and how to tackle that, I guess it is much important. So if I have to ask this question to you, what was your weakness and how you managed that weakness to overcome and you came out winning? So what would be that one weakness or two weakness from your end?
My weaknesses were I used to take things extra seriously. For example, preparation wise, I won't compromise. I won't. Initial 1 2 years, I was not having friends much. My social circle was almost zero. I was into my own room, my own books. So that social isolation I found, I believed at that time, maybe true or false that I can judge, but that time was I was not a socially interacting person. But down the line, I understood that friends do matter in civil services, and a good friendship, good batch of friends do matter because these are the good part that will be with you during your preparation. You can discuss, you can share your feelings, you can have good food with, you can go around, you can have some time of relaxation during
Also
preparation.
important
So
things.
I believe initially I believe that was a weakness or that was my fault. I didn't do that. Second thing I told you, my weakness is I used to take this results very seriously, and I this uh, issues of mental what do you call instabilities at times of for example it is also a state of instability because if if one emotions overpower you or the other emotion, that is also a cause of mental stability. So that things were there, but I knew this was my weakness. That was the best part, and I knew that I am in depression right now. I knew that I should interact more with my friends. I should give them time. I should from group because it was not possible for me to keep with the flow of studies because now preparation phase a lot of things
Yes, yes,
happens.
it is demanding.
So it was never a perfect preparation. It was full of what do you call hits and successes, hits and losses. So I had seen both ends. So that way.
Great. Shahansha, I mean, you talked about when I saw your DAF and I, went through your resume as well and how you worked through. Uh, you talked about how Civils Daily also helped you in your preparation. The feeds that you got from our end, they help with regard to those feeds and the content respective to those feeds. How did you manage time to read these things? How Civils Daily as an ecosystem helped you in totality to grow and evolve?
During my job during this year, I can say about this year because I was having very less time. So it will take around 25 to 30 minutes from my home to office. So on route, I always be with this wheels daily up and down. So that feeds, it was very difficult to read newspaper or thing because time constraints was there. So I'll take Civil Daily and I'll get the thing. And there is a group of Civil Daily, then daily questions are being asked also. So I used to solve in that on the way. I just keep, kaisa hai, where do I stand? So that is the way Civils Daily helped me. In fact, the current affairs were through Civils Daily this year. And many years I've been there, but this year it was through Civils Daily.
This year, we can claim that
Uh-huh.
we have you as a proud ranker, and Civils Daily as IAS helped you with this particular journey, and we are very proud in that manner as well. So, okay, Shashank, final piece of advice to those who are still on this side of the line.
I just want to say that civil services, if you, it's an examination that is that requires not IQ. That and the discussion was there on EQ. And I just want to tell you that see, I am preparing for 8 years, and if anywhere down the line, if I had a thought that yaar 5 saal ho gaye, 6 saal ho gaye, 7 saal ho gaye, if I thought every word this was eighth attempt or 8th year, I would not have been sitting here and then my interview may not be taking here. So perseverance do matter in civil services, and uh, and civil service failure is a part of civil services. You should not be too much bowed down with failures or different phases or whatever difficulties you face. The examination is worth taking it. Being in service, being seen lot of officers in the field, being seen officers taking wonderful decisions in the field, I would say that it is worth taking that risk that you are taking now. And once you are in service, you will cherish that. Yes, I have taken the risk. I have not. I never think that I have wasted my 8 years. These are the best 8 years that is giving for the rest of my life. So I want to tell you, students, it is worth taking this emotional, emotional or whatever state you are going. It is civil service is worth for it.
So there is this small two-liner or couplet, I would say, that we hear in Urdu, that लम्हों ने खता की, सदियों ने सजा पाई. It is like you commit a mistake in a minute and then you suffer for the lifetime, right? So there is an opposite of this particular couplet that I have prepared, which is अरसों से मेहनत की, परसों मैं इनाम पाया. Like you worked for so long and you got the result on a particular day, right? So
Yes.
this is how you show up for this exam. You have to work very, very hard, like Usain Bolt. He performs for just 2 minutes and wins the gold for his country. But he slogs almost 14 years. He slogged almost for 14 years to become that perfect, right? That he could win on the first attempt itself. Great to have you, Shahansha, with us. I totally believe that you will be doing justice to your name, and you will be doing exactly how you have done. You have shown that perseverance, patience, while your academics, while preparing for this exam, exactly in the same manner. We are going to find you very soon in media, talking to you, and maybe you will be giving your nuggets, like how you're managing the law and order situation in a particular district. Later on up in the line, you will be there policy making. So Shahansha, all the very best, and you've made Civils Daily proud. And we are again going to connect with you about certain questions or maybe if there are our viewers who want to have a webinar with you, maybe if you want to write a piece wherein suggested books, what should one do, because you've got a good series of experience with regarding your own learning with respect to depressions and all, right? So your writings will probably help, and then finally when we can have you on webinar, this will also be quite an experience to be part of. Shahansha, thank you so much for connecting with us today and sharing your learnings. All the very best, and God bless you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for calling me.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update from Civilsdaily.